Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 12th edition of the Mountain Moon Review Podcast with your host, both the Razgrees and my co-host, the Blue Duck Gold Duck, and that is Blue Duck Gold Duck without the E, bringing you the latest and greatest in all Pokemon news here live on Twitch every Monday night at 8:30, and also for your on-demand listening pleasure on all major platforms such as iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. Duck, how the heck you been this week?
I've been great. This is a good week.
It really...
Had lots of news. I won a league challenge over the weekend.
You did win a league challenge.
Not that it was a challenge.
Not really. So, for those of you that are involved heavily in the TCG community, which obviously Duck and I are, you'll recognize the name Will Post. So, my league that I run, which Duck came to and played in my league challenge, is actually fairly close to Will Post's league, and he hosted a league cup at the same time. So, we kind of got hosed on attendance, and there wasn't a whole lot of people there. There was enough to run a tournament. I'm not gonna say the exact number, but yeah, you didn't really have much of a challenge. But you know what? Free points. You gotta take them where you can get them.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're not exactly going to go to London, even if you do get the points, I'd imagine. But
no, I'm not.
So, I have a hard time reconciling that. I mean, I fully understand why it's a world championship and it should be able to move around like that.
No, I'm perfectly fine with it being there. I'm just not gonna fork out the money. Like, I have to plan way too far ahead of it to commit all that money to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If I got the points, I'd have a real hard time, real hard time not trying to scrounge it up to go. That's the thing. But like at Worlds this year, I had a free hotel because of points on a credit card. You were packed into a room like a bunch of sardines with a bunch of the guys from your area. So
it was $60 a person for my room.
Is that a night for the whole weekend?
The whole weekend. That's gas, everything included.
Well, see, you can't complain then. Well, the people sleeping on the floor can probably complain, but I think maybe the people in the bed should have paid a little bit more. Just saying. But anyway, this was a pretty good week for news, and we also get to sit here and gloat a little bit because we got some stuff right once again.
Yeah, this one. I mean, this one's not too crazy to to gloat because I mean the whole internet was pretty sure.
Right, but here's my whole thing on that. On all the different news sources that have put stuff out about it, and typically this is the way it runs for us, they must not get the news till Tuesday morning because we put it out Monday nights, and then the next day, before the the podcast has only been out like on the audio version for maybe a couple hours, and it's all over the place. So I'm not saying we're scooping everybody. It just seems like everyone else is on like a Tuesday schedule. We're on a Monday schedule.
Well, as deep as I dig, I do see a lot of the stuff we discuss here. But I mean, I dig really deep. Like I'm subreddit, you know.
Subreddit. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're not in your parents' basement. That's all we have to say about that. So.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So, what do you want to cover this week first?
So let's talk about Surfetch first.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely can talk about that because that's what we were right about, folks. The Surfetched.
Yeah. So there was that whole thing where Pokemon Company really did a reveal, and they were like, "Oops, it's glitched. We don't know what's wrong." But then the image file was a glitch image, so so it was clear that it was something. The only confusing part to me was that it had Rotom's Cry when you clicked on it. So, it kind of led me to think maybe this is like a Rotom form, and they're just really, really trolling us with this picture. But that's not what it was. It was Rotom caused the glitch on the website because their computer got a ghost in it.
Yeah, because it's got a ghost in it.
Exactly.
Because welcome to the Mountain Moon Review podcast, the only podcast with a ghost in it. Anyway, so the rendering that was going around of the Surfetched, it had a buff looking duck with a big old leak in the shield, and he had a helmet looking thing done up with his feathers. The actual Surfetched, pretty close. His leak looks more like a sword or like a jousting staff. The shield's almost dead on. I'm a little irritated he doesn't have the helmet though.
Yeah, I don't think the sword and the shield alone make up for the weight it gains. Being 200, it was at like 243 pounds.
Yeah, before the podcast, you were looking up like all the birds in Pokemon looking at their weights.
So I was like, okay, how much does Farfetch'd weigh? Farfetch'd weighs like 30 pounds, and then it gains 200 pounds when it evolves. Like, that's insane. There's no way the bird. Okay, so you can say the sword and the shield are really heavy, but there's no way the sword and the shield together weigh 200 pounds. I mean, and this bird with hollow bones is lifting it up. From
Charmeleon to Charizard, you have a huge weight increase, but you also have a mass increase. You don't have that mass increase with the Surfetched.
Not much here. Now, I was looking up, so Pidgeotto to Pidgeot, there's a pretty big difference between the two. One sits on your shoulder and one's just as tall as you. It only gains 20 pounds. But then I looked up Doduo and Dodrio, and Doduo gains 100 pounds in its evolution. So there's no scientific way to decide how much a Pokemon's going to gain when it evolves.
Well, there's also no science to sprites that aren't real. But
that's very true.
But we got to have the suspension of disbelief. I do. You got to have the suspension of disbelief, but it's also got to be believable. Come on now. I mean, he's got the density of a black hole.
Science doesn't work in Pokemon.
Of course not.
Butterfree weighs like what, 80 pounds, and based on the size of its body, and the size of its wings in comparison to its body, it should not be able to fly with those wings.
You think you might be overthinking it just a little bit.
Well, I'm not. I'm saying somebody else did this research. I just read it and I was like, oh,
I'm not sure I'd call it research. All right, so but yeah, Surfetch confirmed when that came out from the Direct, and we called it once again. So chalk up another point for the Mount Moon review.
They did also reveal a move with it, which is an exclusive move to Surfetched, like as far as we know. It's called Meteor Assault, and based on the description, I think it's like a physical hyper beam, where it does a massive amount of base damage, but it's not able to attack on the next turn. It needs to take a turn to recharge.
Yeah, so and as long as it does that mass amount, typically that's the moves for the VGs typically have that recharge period. So
right,
we can
so they don't use it because of the recharge period. You can just use 2 attacks that do more than half of the damage, and then you're at a benefit.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, what do we have next after Surfetched?
Well, I also want to comment that it is a sword exclusive.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely it is. So that's
really weird.
What that means is in the next couple of weeks, we're guaranteed we're going to get some kind of Shield exclusive.
It seems like they might be shifting to a information every 2 weeks kind of deal. So maybe this weekend they'll tease something else, and the Rotom will strike again, and we'll have to figure out what the Shield exclusive is going to be. Because for every exclusive, there's always a counterpart.
Yes.
For instance, in Red and Blue, you could catch Scyther in one area, but you couldn't catch Scyther in Blue. In the same area, you could catch Pinsir.
Yeah, so and that's typical of every single Pokemon game that's come out since Pokemon games have come out. The idea is that some people will go out and buy both games. I mean, even this game, it's coming out with a 2-pack, so you can buy both games at the same time.
They've done that for the last couple generations.
Yeah, it's just insanity to me. I'm probably gonna get Sword.
I don't know what I'm getting at. I got a buddy that we always get one or the other, and so I don't really care. So I'll get whatever one he gets until there's like a really big exclusive. I think whatever one Larvitar's in is probably the one he's gonna get. So I'll get the other one. I think Larvitar's in Shield.
Well, we'll see what happens. So hopefully, like you said, I think we are going to start getting information about every 2 weeks from them, from just observations thus far. And we got time. We're not.
Oh yeah,
the game's
no,
not coming out till mid-November.
Right.
So.
I would like more. What's crazy is we don't have the starter evolutions yet. Normally, we've had the second stage evolution, or the middle evolutions. We've had those in September for longer than I've been paying attention to when they reveal stuff.
We still got another week. September's not over just yet.
That's true. We'll see, but it doesn't look like we're gonna get the info, and then that means are we not gonna see the shield counterpart?
I'm sure. I am positive we'll see the shield counterpart. Just a matter of when. But
yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So moving on.
The next piece of news is an actual leak happened in the Pokemon community.
I am appalled.
Well, normally if we say leak, it's not actually a leak. It's somebody on the internet said my dad works at Nintendo and said they knew something about the game and released it. And normally I don't cover that unless it's already been proven to be credible. Like that leak that talked about Surfetched. He had already that leak had came out. We made an episode. I didn't talk about it, and then a trailer came out that proved some of the things he said right. And I was like, oh, hey, we should talk about this because it's got
we don't
credibility.
Just for the sake of making content, we don't just somebody said this on 4chan. Let's talk about it.
Right. Yeah, we could do that. I do read all of that.
We do make an attempt to vet most things that we say. So
right.
But except when it comes to me complaining, then we just let me complain.
But anyways, this is a real leak source from somebody who made a website for Game Freak.
Okay.
I don't know how all that mumbo jumbo worked, but I don't know who made the website or any of that. I actually haven't seen the official site yet. I don't know if it's an English site or not. But they are revealing that with the Switch you can take pictures of Dynamax Pokemon in an AR setting, kind of like the way you do on Pokemon Go. You can like swipe something, or
Yeah, no, you can use your camera function on Pokemon Go. The thing I'm not really understanding is the Switch doesn't have a camera.
The Switch doesn't. I thought the Switch did have an external camera.
I don't believe so.
Maybe, yeah. You know what? I don't know. Huh.
I don't believe it does.
So then I wonder if this is something you can do on your phone. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it doesn't have a camera. But we're talking about AR functionality, and we're seeing pictures of Dynamaxed Lucario and Scorbunny, like Scorbunny being at the Washington Monument. But we also know that with Pokemon Home, we're going to see a lot more cross integration between all the different platforms. That basically anything that has a Pokemon logo on it is going to have some kind of is going to be attached to Pokemon Home in some way, shape, or form. So that might be part of what's going on. But again, it's a little weird that they're saying that the Switch is going to do this, because you'd have to have a camera to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So that is very true. So more information on this to come. I didn't even think about that when I wrote this.
Hey, these things happen. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how that works, but when we find out, I'm sure they'll make an English version of the website eventually. Then we'll figure it out from there.
From my understanding from our source in chat currently, that is a Japanese website. So we're going to see what happens when we get translations.
But the juicy part isn't the website. It's what they named the images.
Oh.
So what's happening is, for instance, Litten, Torcat, and Incineroar are all featured in pictures.
Right. And
the name of Litten is Tiger 1, Torcat is Tiger 2, Incineroar is Tiger 3. So a basic Pokemon would have a 1, the next stage would have a 2, and the following stage would have a 3.
Right, that stands to reason.
If it's a basic Pokemon that doesn't evolve, like Ditto might be copycat and then not have any zero. Copycat zero. Or
Okay.
no, not zero. Copycat nothing.
Right.
So using this pattern that we see here, we can look at the Pokemon from Sword and Shield and figure out information on them. Scorbunny is called Usagi 1 or Usagi.
It's Usagi.
You're gonna have to pardon my Japanese.
It's Usagi.
For this section, because I do not know how I don't know how to talk or say any of these words. So please pardon my pronunciations. I did translate most of the words. It's basically rabbit one for Scorbunny. That's what the word attached to Scorbunny picture means.
It's actually closer to
Sobble
bunny.
is chameleon one. Grookey is Gorilla one. So that tells me that their basic Pokemon are going to evolve, right? That's pretty standard. Their starter Pokemon, of course,
Absolutely, they have to evolve.
They're going to evolve twice.
Stands to reason.
Yamper is Inu, which is dog in Japanese, 1. Yamper's going to evolve. We already assumed that because there's images in the game of like a greyhound. There's artwork in the game in the background of the stadiums of this greyhound looking Pokemon with a electric, a thunderbolt on its tail or a lightning bolt.
So we've established the pattern and we've made some credible assumptions about it. So what are we going to reveal out of it?
Well, that's what we didn't know if Yamper was going to evolve or not. The fact that it's Inu 1 means that it will evolve.
Right on.
Roly-Poly is called Sekatan 1. It's going to evolve. Wooloo is Wool 1. That evolves. Here's one that we've been wondering about. Corviknight is called G Commodore 1. Or G Commodore 3.
Oh.
That means Corviknight is a stage 2 Pokemon. And there's going to be a basic, it evolves, and then that Pokemon evolves into Corviknight.
It'd be really interesting to see what Pikachu is numbered as. So we know Pikachu's in the game, and I'd like to see what he's numbered as. Is he going to be labeled as? Is he going to be numbered as 2 or as 1?
He would probably be 2, unless they have a different way for naming baby Pokemon.
I mean, yeah, because you'd almost have to backdate some of them. But
right.
It'd be interesting to see it once we have an image file on that. I'd like to see it.
Pichu would be Pichu or Mouse B for baby.
That's possible. Very possible.
Alchemy. Here's another one. Was called
Alcrem
2.
Alcrem.
So you're just not pronouncing the IE at the end of the word?
It's Alcrem.
What about the IE?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Pokemon. It doesn't have to make sense.
Which means Alchemy is not a basic Pokemon. Something evolves into it.
Yeah, milk.
I was assuming it was basic, which I really liked. Oh, cool! Look, it's like Vivillon, except you don't have to evolve it 2 times.
Apparently, you do.
To trade it away to so somebody else can get the different version of it. You only have to evolve it once, so it's not quite as bad. You can get a team of the basic and then go and do one battle for a bunch of XP and they all evolve. And then trade them off so other people can have the different forms. But it really sucked to have to do 2 battles per team of Pokemon you get to get the Vivillon.
So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's definitely it's the pattern's clear. It's not really open to interpretation. The pattern's there. You can see it, and if you look at it from the scientific method, kids, you can see that it's very clear, and we can make the assumption without taking a giant leap.
Dreadnought was called G Kame 2, and I think Kame, I didn't get this one translated, but I'm pretty sure that means turtle. I've seen Kame attached to other turtle things.
Yes, it is turtle.
And so he's evolved as well. That was another one where we weren't sure if it was going to be evolved or not, or evolve. It might still evolve. We don't know. Poltegeist, which was just revealed 2 weeks ago, is called Teacup 2, which means something evolves into that thing.
Yeah, teabag.
or a teacup. We don't know.
As long as it has a ghost in it.
Morpeko, or Morpeko, as I've heard other people pronounce it, is called Post-Pika. And there's no number attached to it, which means it doesn't evolve, and it's a basic Pokemon.
Okay.
Which is normal. That's following the pattern. The only Pika clone we've gotten that evolved was Meryl. And I mean, I don't know if other people consider Meryl a Pika clone.
It kind of is, yeah. I mean,
I always have.
I'm right there with you. It's very much. I don't think they tried to push it as like, here's your next new big thing, but it's definitely along the same lines.
Right. And then Duraludon. Here's another one that gave us a lot of information we didn't know. I don't know if I can say this word. Hagane Doragon.
Doragon.
Yeah. Okay. It means steel dragon. So that, and there's no numbers attached to Duraludon, which means
it just is what it is.
It's a basic Pokemon and it doesn't evolve. So it's not the pseudo legendary of the region like some people assumed.
It doesn't have to evolve to be a legendary.
Pseudo legendary. So like, like Dragonite.
Okay. Okay.
Salamence,
I understand. Nope, I understand what you're saying.
Stats of a legendary, but not a legendary.
Gotcha.
There's at least one in every game, and it's always a 3-stage evolution.
Yeah, Dragonite never made a lick of sense to me. It never did.
Right? Why not?
You go from Dragonair, Dragantini, to Dragonite.
It's kind of like they started out as like a baby Chinese dragon.
It's like a cute little lizard. It's a cute little lizard that turns into Puff the Magic Dragon, dude. It's just like
like a kind of a European style dragon. Yeah, a little weird.
Never understood that one. But
and then the last thing on video games that I want to hit, and this just came out today, so this is not like a prepared discussion, or I just read this whole debate going on the internet today. The graphical updates in Sword and Shield. We got some images from the last trailer, and it showed. So what I did was I found somebody made an article about it, and they had the Rabombi from Sword and Shield next to the Rabombi from Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
So say Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, yeah.
And they said, "Oh, look at this! This is definitely a new model."
It really is.
And then somebody else who is like somebody who designs models is like, "No, this is definitely not a new model. It's clearly." Or that when they made the 3D sprites, they made them at a really high resolution, and then they just downgrade them to whatever game they're in. So like whatever a DS can run.
No, I'm calling BS on that.
We didn't even talk about this discussion, and I'm calling BS on it too.
Yeah, they use the same design, but look at the wings. Okay.
The wings is the biggest thing.
And we're just. I know we're throwing this out there, and the audio listeners are like, "What are you talking about? Look at it." So we got the images on the screen right now, and they're very close. If you look at them, just
podcast as well.
It is primarily actually, but when you look at it, just at the glance, you see, oh yeah, it's just a graphical upgrade. But if you look at the wings are completely different shapes. And you look at the eyes are different, the mouth's different. And I haven't even seen these images before. I'm looking at them for the first time. But there's things that you look at that makes it does look like it's identical, like the placement of the arms in regards to the quote unquote scarf. But the hands are also longer on the older model and shorter on the newer model. And the legs, the placement is identical, same size and shape and everything. So there is aspects of it that say, this is just a higher render of the sprite, but once you look at it for more than 5 seconds, you can see the differences. This is clearly a new sprite modeled after the old one.
You can't tell me that that's the same wings.
No, absolutely
Based
not.
on the angles and the proportions of the wing to the arm, that's not the same wing. They at least made new wings for Sword and Shield on this Rabombi.
There's a lot of proportions that are a little bit different too.
Exactly.
They clearly took the sprite and they just made a new one using the other one as a model.
Right. Maybe they kept the same wire mesh at, bent it. I don't know much about, 3D design, but they probably kept the same wire mesh, bent some things around to give it a higher fidelity, or took the higher resolution one and did that, whatever the original one they started with.
This is also going to be played on a higher resolution screen. It has potentially played on a bigger television for that matter.
HD graphics and everything.
So of course you're not going to use the same sprites. You're going to make the higher res sprites.
Right. No matter how, even if it was an easy amount of work, doing this over 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Is understandable why they just making wings for all the Pokemon with wings would be a crazy amount of work for a team of 70 people to do. I don't really want to defend Game Freak because they could have just taken another year. I'm glad they didn't, but it's like the whole internet is convinced that they're not using new,
and the whole internet's wrong. That's clearly a new sprite, and when I don't want to devolve this into the debate about using the national decks again. I think you and I have both agreed that people are being completely unreasonable when it comes to wanting the national decks, especially now. It's done and over. You can't add it in. Sorry, so your luck. If you don't want it, if you think that's going to be the deal breaker for you, don't buy the damn game.
But I still want the national decks in the game.
Oh, I'll take it. But I'm not going to buying. Yeah, I'm not going to not buy the game.
I think at this point you either decide you're going to wonder it, or you're either going to get it or you're not.
Right. So, and that's not to say that DLC is not coming at some point. With Niantic, for example, they love releasing different. Like we just got the Unova region added to Pokemon Go. So that's not to say they couldn't come in and drop stuff in as DLC or patch it in later. But for the game to come out when they have it scheduled to come out, it's going to be what it is.
Right. I mean, the true test of this will be to see what happens after Sword and Shield.
Yeah, and if you want to look at it from a storyline standpoint, it oftentimes seems like when you as the trainer go somewhere, or heck, let's even take the cartoon. Ash is like, "What is this Alola region that you speak of? I feel like a tropical vacation. Maybe I can become their Pokemon master."
Only did.
Finally. Time to retire, kid. You've peaked. So, yeah, it's clearly a new sprite. We're not going to get into the national decks because I think we beat that into the dirt.
Right.
What else you got?
That's it for video games. Next is TCG.
Oh my God! Has the internet been in an uproar this week about TCG? So,
yeah, especially this
where do we want to start at?
Sunday morning is when I found out.
Well, yeah, when my phone just almost burst into flames.
Let's start with the big thing, and then we'll talk about the other stuff from there, because that's a little bit more positive for me.
Positive. Let's get the negativity out of the way, folks. So there is a new ruling in regards to there's going to be a rule change in the Japanese format. Now, typically, what happens, and I say typically because it's not a guarantee. Typically, the rule changes quickly follow for the rest of the world. It's just we hear about them.
Not.
What's that?
Every rule change Japan has received has changed for us as well.
Yep. So it's very, very possible it could be the same date. We haven't heard anything announced yet English-wise, but it looks like there's going to be a rule change that turn 1, you will no longer be able to play a supporter card.
If you go first.
That's why I said turn 1 if you go first. There
well, yeah. It's technically the person going second, it's still turn 1.
Okay. So if you choose to go first, you are, or your opponent says they're going to go second, you're not playing a support card. This has the internet, the TCG community. I'm sure there's somebody out there that still communicates with carrier pigeons that are burning the wings off their birds right now because everyone is losing their ever-loving minds.
Yeah, I mean, I was throwing a fit yesterday.
I just started thinking about right now. I'm still playing Green's Reshizard, and I'm thinking, oh my God,
that deck's gone.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to figure out something different. And you might as well just take all your lilies out of your deck now. But
Yeah, or now you're gonna choose to go first or go second because
see, I always did.
Going second is completely overpowered now. You mean I can attack and play a supporter card? Sure.
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do? Put a basic Pokemon out and pass the turn? Great.
See, with playing Green's Reshazard, I've been for the past since rotation, I've been going second every opportunity I get because I get to play my Volcanion potentially, and I have different things that for reasonings I always want to go second with that particular deck. But for the most part, most people you've been incentivized to go first. Now with this new rule change, everybody's up in an uproar because they're going to have to change it. But when you stop and think about it for a minute, this is just my opinion. So the meta changed. They're forcing you to get out of your comfort zone and play a different way so that we're not seeing everything the same. And I don't like it, but I understand it. I'm kind of curious.
I don't understand it.
I can understand rule changes. What I'm trying to understand is
why No, I can understand changing the rules. I just think that it should make the game better. I don't see how that rule makes the game any better.
You're right, and I'm trying to figure out what prompted it. There had to have been something somewhere, and I don't see what the advantage is to changing the rule to this.
We probably don't know. There's tons of more information coming out to this. I doubt this is the only rule change as well. I've been talking to some more veteran players than me. I've only been playing since mid X and Y era. I played a little bit of Expanded, but Standard since Breakpoint had just come out when I started buying cards again. So, I don't have all this information, but there was a time during the Diamond and Pearl era where you couldn't place the person going first couldn't play supporters on turn 1.
I wasn't aware of that.
But there were cards there was an energy card that if you attach it to your active Pokemon, you get to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them on the field. Like that stuff like that. If there's more setup cards like that would change the way, how broken this seems right now. And if you look at, I guess now we'll talk about the well, okay, we'll just skip. we'll continue from there. I was ready to I'm done. If they change this rule, I'm walking away from the game. But there's a lot more attached to that. I've been ready to walk away for a little while now, and it's just like I keep getting brought back by the community and not the actual game.
We love you, man. We love you, man. You can't go nowhere, man.
I know, but I was thinking about this was going to be my last year. I was going to try to go to Worlds. If I go to Worlds, then I'll hang up, I'll hang up the towel and, be satisfied with my Pokemon career. And then I'll just play Sword and Shield because it's a lot more convenient. And it saves me so much more money, and they're already making the video game side of it better. Well, in my opinion, now this is not me saying that it's bad the way they do it, but the way I want to play, they're making the game worse for me and the way I want to play. Does that make sense?
It does, and
it's the decks that I don't have fun playing against becoming more and more popular with every rotation. Yeah. Except this one. This one's pretty good. This one's pretty fun so far.
It is so far. I've been having a good time with it.
But
but the whole series isn't out yet.
The last 2 have been pretty bad, and it's looking like it's going to get kind of stupid with the next one too, with our November set.
Yeah, but again, if we have more cards that can and give us abilities such as supporter cards normally would, that may take care of our turn 1 problem. But then you're going to run into people playing those on top of supporters later in the game,
right?
And it's just you're gonna have these like just disgusting setups that are going to be almost insurmountable. So there's got to be a happy medium in there, and I'm sure Pokemon has something planned. I just don't know what the heck it could be.
I imagine there's a supporter in the Sword and Shield set that we haven't seen yet that is going to really shake things up, especially if you would be able to play it on turn 1.
Here's hoping.
We just haven't seen it yet. That's why it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, everyone else is like screaming that the sky is falling,
Right.
and you know, I'm selling all my binders. I'm done. Okay, that's great. I'll buy them for $5. And then I'll resell them.
I was ready to walk away, but not until we were forced to deal with this rule.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And see, I'm in a crucial point right now because I'm moving. So I'm actually moving across the country. So
Yeah.
I have a league that I built up, and it goes from, you know, casual play. Now we're planning major league cups. We have a league cup in November that's going to be at a comic convention, and it's going to be completely done for Extra Life. So if you happen to be in the area, and that's going to be Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, stop by Four Corners Comics and Games and get information about LinkCon, and find out about that League Cup that we're going to be having. I'm actually going to be across the country by that point, but I am flying back specifically to run that cup. And I'd like to get as many people there as I can and help support Extra Life, which is a really great cause that puts games in children's hospitals for those that are going to be there for long periods of time. So, you know, if anything to make a kid's life a little bit easier when they're dealing with whatever they have to deal with, that's worthy. With my own, so much I'm not going to go into, we've had to utilize services such as the Ronald McDonald House, and those kinds of things that help families when they're in the hospitals, I can't speak enough about. So if you ever see anything, any kind of organization, not even just this, that are supporting Extra Life, consider taking part in it. You don't have to go there and I'm going to give you this money, because typically it's like an entry fee, like you would anywhere else. Except the money's not going in someone's pocket; it's going into a hospital. So anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Yeah.
But I'm giving up that league. So I'm where I'm going. There's currently no storefronts. So I have a choice of either starting a club league, which does not have the capability of doing League Challenge or League Cup or anything of that nature. We just do casual play, or not. Well, actually, here's an option 3. My wife thinks I should open up a card store, but I'm not going to say it's an impossibility. But so you know, I'm at a good point. I'm depending on what the rule changes are and how Sword and Shield works out, I might switch over to VGC.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, the rule is in effect in Japan on November 29th. I assume if we get the rule change, it won't be until February when we get Sword and Shield.
Yeah, that'd probably be my guess.
But yeah, I mean, I was like, at that point, you know, we were going to be able to transfer our dittos and start breeding. You know,
Father of the Year makes his triumphant return.
Right, I might. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. At this point, I'm at a we'll see. I need more information before I decide. As is, if the game state stays the same and all they do is change the rule about supporters, then I'm probably done, because I'm not gonna, you know, drive an hour or you know, drive as far as I do for tournaments just to get
donked,
you know, not be able to set up and get donked by my opponent playing because he won the coin flip. I'll just stay home and flip a coin and see how many times I win.
50%.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason I don't play Whimsicott.
Yeah. So hey, I'm gonna need to get one of those 666 dittos from you.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how many I have at the end of grinding all these things out.
Okay, I'll wait to see if I have to mute your mic or not. So we did get some more stuff about the TCG that are a little bit more happy, I guess.
Yeah. So here's another thing we predicted. Well, I mean, it supports something we predicted. November 29th, same day as that rule change, they're rotating all their cards from Block A. So the way they release things is a lot different than us, because they get a set every month.
And by they, you mean Japan.
Oh, yeah. They is Japan. Japan, well, that doesn't usually come into effect, but the way they release it is like so many sets in a row will have an A on them, and then so many sets in a row will have a B on them. Then so many sets in a row, we'll have a C, and then a D. And then if they rotate, now they didn't rotate any sets for X and Y. It was just X and Y, the beginning of X and Y to the last, to all 12 sets in a row.
See ya!
And then they just all, tossed them out. And then went Sword and Shield, or Sun and Moon onward at the same time that we went Sun and Moon onward.
So we're getting even closer to the rotation matching rotation right here.
They're rotating their A block, which is every set between Sun and Moon base and Crimson Invasion, or what our Crimson Invasion cards were.
Right.
So roughly, give it take a few cards here and there, it's going to be the same as our format.
Yep, Ultra Prism forward.
Which means now we'll be able to look at those cards that months, or we can look at the cards that are coming out in a month or two, see which ones are doing good in Japan, and predict the meta from there, which was awesome. Like for the little bit that we got to do it.
Yeah, well, the meta for Japan typically is a little different than what we have,
but it was closer to ours with when it was the same sets. Normally, it's not the same sets.
Yeah, but now that we're synced
team
up,
Charizard deck that I put together, that started out as a list from Japan, and I modified it to fit our meta better.
The play styles for the Japanese players are different from the European players and are different from the U.S. players.
Sometimes.
I think they're pretty different. Even when they have the same decks, their styles are different. But no, I think you're right. If everyone's on the same page, you're going to see the Japanese stealing U.S. decks. You're going to see Europeans stealing Japanese decks. You're going to start seeing a lot of that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if we all get on the same page with our rotations. That is the loudest bottle cap I've ever heard.
Oh, sorry. I was hoping it was far enough away from the mic.
No, you got a pretty good mic, man. It picks up that background stuff.
Sorry.
All right. Moving on.
So now I just described that block feature, and our Sword and Shield set is going to be printed with the block feature. So all our Sword and Shield cards will have an A starting, and then eventually they'll switch to B, and it'll probably switch to B at the same time Japan's cards switch to B.
Crossing our fingers, we're hoping.
And it looks like it. I mean, this is just all this is all pointing towards a the
unified rotation.
Yeah,
that's what we'll call it. We'll go with unified rotation.
Exactly. So I think we all have to put our unified minds together.
Oh my god.
And eventually I'm just kidding.
I'm the one with the kids here. I'm supposed to be making the dad jokes, not you.
We just have to make sure that all our bonds are unbroken.
Oh my god.
We need to team up before we lose our thunder.
If we look at this,
there'll be a celestial storm.
If we look at this through an ultra prism, we might see this crimson invasion upon us. All right. Oh
my goodness.
This has now just dropped us 10 points in the iTunes top podcasts. Anyway.
So, Pokemon, grab your swords and your shields because
oh my god!
Were just revealed. All right, I'm really done now.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, I'm really done.
Good, because we almost had a Steam siege.
Oh my god.
Anyway. Okay, we're done. We're done. Moving on. We're done.
Pokemon V. We got our first batch of Pokemon V cards completely revealed. Nothing hidden. No text. No typings. It's all on there.
Yep, so get your V cards ready, kids!
Oh my god.
But the artwork on them is pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than in my opinion, I like it better than the GX cards.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit more sleek. It's They're very, very vibrant in the colors. I can't complain about them. Other than the text is a little hard to read, but
Well, I mean, we haven't actually seen them yet,
this is
but
true.
I think they are trying to make the text boxes smaller on the ultra rare cards like that.
Yeah, I mean, but first and foremost, it's a trading card game. People want to
Right.
trade them and collect them.
So let's make them look really cool. I'm completely fine with that.
No, yeah, I'm cool with it too.
I love the lightning effect over the. I mean, you guys can't see them if you're listening, but there's a lot of really cool effects on the cards. Like there's the Pokemon, and then like there's a Victini, right? And it's doing an attack, and then it's got fire surrounding it, and the fire is what looks 3D.
Yeah, and they kind of have like a 3D effect to them without. The Pokemon are much more prominent in the cards than we're typically
Right.
used to seeing.
Tapu Koko is surrounded by lightning bolts, and I love the aesthetic of lightning bolts.
Yeah, and it's actually like white lightning, not the
Right.
yellow.
Like if you're looking at your window and you see a light, a streak of lightning, like that's what it looks like.
Yeah, so I think they're pretty cool. The logo for the V card is a lot more integrated into the design as opposed to just being like a giant big old V in the corner saying "Look at me, I'm a V." So the cards are a little bit darker. They have the black edges to them now. I like them. I like them a lot. I'm gonna have to get my hands on some of them. Hopefully, the pull rates are as good as they are with Hidden Fates.
Well, that's probably not gonna
Probably
be
not.
the case. But but so the cards look cool. We like the way they look. Let's talk about what they do. And this is why I'm thinking that we might get another rule change in the future.
Go on.
Let's start with Celebi. An attack for 1 grass energy, call for friends, search your deck for 2 Pokemon, and put them into your hand. So it's not as good as some of the smaller Pokemon that do the call for. I think it's
Call for
this
family.
yeah, well, yeah. Celebi is call for friends. The other attacks are call for family, where they just put Pokemon right on the bench. That's pretty good. Victini is 1 colorless, and its attack is called Fire Spreading. Attach up to 3 fire energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Tapu Koko is for 1 lightning energy. 20 damage, draw 2 cards. So these are all attacks easily to pull off on turn 1, with or without a supporter. And they help you set up the game. I'm
Interesting.
thinking you might be able to attack on turn 1. Because back in the Diamond and Pearl era, you were allowed to attack on turn 1, and a lot of Pokemon had 1 energy attacks that helped you set up.
I can see that because just because we know of one rule doesn't mean there's not another one coming. So if they take out the support card on turn 1, they could add that you could attack on turn 1. They could put that back into the game,
reflecting the format where you already weren't allowed to play a supporter on turn 1.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking this makes it better. I still don't think it's better than the way the game is currently. But maybe some people don't like. I mean, facing a Pokemon where they weldered 2 turns in a row for full power, that's 6 energy on a Pokemon on turn 2. So that is kind of a problem. But I don't think welder's the reason they changed the rule. I'm just saying I can see why people would think that change is a good thing.
Fair enough. And
I love it.
We're gonna have to see what it's gonna be. We're gonna have to. That's the thing. It depends on how people play the game. It'll change. Let's take a different game for example. Halo. People, that's supposed to be a very, you're Slayer, you're attacking. But all the custom games that came out of that, I remember distinctly my wife cackling like a bloody hyena because she found a custom game type called Zombies. Or no, 28 Days Later is what it was called. And it was it was the precursor to Bungie actually adding in the zombie mode in the games. And you had games like that. You had Griffball. I played in a Griffball tournament. And people will take a game, they'll decide what they like about it, and they'll change it. So they may have a perfect intention of how they anticipate these cards being played, but once the community gets a hold of them, doesn't matter how many playtesters you have, you're never going to have as many as the community is with the cards in their hand. And they're going to find new and more obnoxious ways to play these cards they can have the best of intentions at Game Freak, saying that this is what it's going to be. Not Game Freak, I'm sorry, Pokemon Company.
Yeah.
And they can have the best of intentions of how they think it's going to play out, but they don't know for sure. You're never going to know for sure. You can play test something until your fingers bleed, but once you get it out in the community, where you go from say 1,000 people playing it to now millions of people playing it, 1,000, you get enough monkeys in a room with enough typewriters, you're going to get Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So, anyway. So that's what is that? With the format change, we'll see what happens, and we'll see what happens, I think, pretty quickly. So, what else? You got anything else for TCG side?
That was it. I said my piece.
Right on. Well, we got a little bit of Pokemon Go news, not a whole lot, just some stuff. For example, there was a little bit of an uproar, and I can't figure out why it happened. But Niantic screwed the pooch a little bit on Mewtwo. They had a legendary raid hour. So what it was is there was a specific time period where there was going to be Mewtwo raids all over the bloody place, and people were geared up because, okay, we're going to get my Mewtwo, and this is going to be great. Well, at this point, why don't you have them already? But something happened at Niantic, and they had to postpone it. You got word like the day before or so that the legendary raid hour wasn't going to happen, and oh my lord, did Twitter explode with people throwing just pure hate at Niantic. My favorite was people saying, "I took days off of work for this." I'm like, why did you do that?
Whoa, yeah,
it's a mobile game, man.
I mean, when you said that, I was like, I kind of feel bad for people that took off work, but like, I didn't,
Why would you take off work to go play a mobile game?
I don't know.
I've got so many EX raid passes that I haven't been able to play with because I'm at work. So, take some responsibility and try to be responsible in your life, not just playing a mobile game. But Niantic is trying to make it up to people. Regardless, they're gonna complain either way.
How many gems did you get?
Gems.
Yeah, you remember when Pokemon Masters, when they had that bug, and then they gave us 6,000 gems?
They did.
How many gems did they give you in Pokemon Go?
Well, you didn't get gems, but they are going to have a makeup day. So the legendary raid hour
is that really it?
That's it. Well, maybe. So we don't know.
I feel like the community is owed something. Like,
okay. So
about
a month or so ago, there was a Deoxys raid where something happened. Whatever.
I'm not being a jerk. Some people may not know what you're talking about.
Deoxys. It starts with a D. It looks like one of the foolish Pokemon. But so there was something that happened where I was actually a victim of this. I couldn't get in to the raid. There was a lot of people out there. Like it was an EX raid that couldn't get in. My wife and youngest were able to get in. Myself and my oldest were not. We kept restarting the app, and my oldest was able to get in. I never was until about 25 minutes into it. By that point, the whole raid group was gone because as soon as the raid can start, it does start. So I just wrote Niantic a thing saying, "Hey, what the heck?" And they sent me 5 premium raid passes. They couldn't give me the Pokemon, but they did give me 5 premium raid passes, which it's $5. I'll take it. Wasn't happy about it. I wanted to play out the EX raid. I wanted to get the legendary, but it's the best they can do. I'll take it. At least they tried. In this instance, they are having a makeup day, and it's going to be October 8th, from 6 to 7, whatever your local time is. And it does say that there's going to be more details. So you're probably going to see some form of digital compensation. It just remains to be seen what that is. We'll probably know closer to the date. But if you missed out on getting your Mewtwo, that's hopefully going to be a time where you can get your stuff back. And that's really all I got for Pokemon Go this week. There is a little bit of leaked news about a community day that's coming up in regards to some Stardust stuff, but I'm going to find out more about that from people before I stick my foot in my mouth and say the wrong thing. But skipping over Pokemon Masters, because there's nothing new there that I know of, unless you know something.
Nothing really.
Other than the fact that Duck has not yet spent any more money. And when I looked at Pokemon Masters the other day, I was going to say I finally unlocked the co-op portion. And
finally.
I did. I unlocked the co-op portion, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to get in here, and I'm going to see who my friends are. Then I saw this. And if you hear the screen right now, it's going to say, he hasn't played in 7 days.
It's really been a whole week?
You hadn't played for 7 days.
Yeah, the phones fell, and then I was like, I haven't picked them up yet. They fell like on the side of the couch, which is where I found that phone originally.
Oh my god, back to the abyss from which it came.
Right.
But so skipping over Masters, we do have we do know that the yearly event that we all look forward to, when we can dip our nuggets in the sweet and sour sauce of life, and us grown adults can order Happy Meals, because it is coming up. McDonald's is going to be having its yearly Pokemon event, where you get your Pokemon toy and your exclusive Pokemon cards. And these are cards that are valid and perfectly legal for play in the TCG. And last year's were awesome. We actually had the Eevee with Energy Evolution on there, which has rotated out now, but it was a cool card. So you have a choice coming up here in the month of October. You'll be able to get your Pokemon or your Hello Kitty, whichever you should prefer. But if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going to get the Pokemon.
Hello Kitty. Oh.
Well, you can get Hello Kitty if you want. I'm not judging. So that's all we got. That's all I got on that. Oh, wait a minute. We do have one more thing. The internet being the internet. And people listening to me, because I actually gave this exact advice. Hidden Fates. It has been nearly impossible to get your hands on Hidden Fates, unless you're just stalking the store people as they set the shelves up. I'm actually getting quite like disgusted at this point, seeing people like posting on Facebook, "Here's my crate of Hidden Fates, ha ha ha! I'll sell them to you for twice the value." And it's bloody obnoxious. So one thing I told everybody was, you ought to go onto places like GameStop and pre-order things like the Elite Trainer boxes as they come out, because that way you don't have to deal with running to the store first thing in the morning and seeing some schmuck walking out going, "Look at all the bags of stuff I have! I win all these mythical internet points! Ha 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 ha!" Well, unfortunately, bad stuff has happened. And people are starting to get notices from places like GameStop, for example, that their orders have been canceled.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So it seems like some people are getting orders canceled. The other people are getting orders that saying it's going to be delayed. So it's I'm not sure if this is they're canceling orders so they can raise the price on them, because there's lots of reports coming out of stores that were accepting pre-orders. Now, these aren't chain stores. These are like your local mom and pop comics shops that are calling their customers up and saying, "Listen, we'll give you your money back for your pre-order, or you're going to owe us an extra like $20."
Oh my gosh.
Because they're raising...
That's bad. That is very bad.
That would be the very last time I step foot inside your store. Straight up. I would never go in your store again. But so if you have ordered stuff from like GameStop, make sure you're checking your email, because your order may very well have been canceled. This is the kind of thing that's really getting in my craw right now with the TCG. Everyone was super hyped for this set to come out, and Nintendo knew that. Nintendo. Pokemon Company knew that. And you always want to demand for your product, but this is getting bloody ridiculous. And it's not even the fact that I think that there's that much of a demand for it. I think that ever since that one person got the grade 10 Beckett shiny Charizard and sold it for over $10,000. Now everybody's getting their dander up, like, oh, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win the lottery. I gotta get out and get me some Hidden Fates. So now you got every person with a connection somewhere to a retailer is buying up everything they can. And you know what? I hope you guys that do that lose your hats, because I can't find a single box yet for my kids. Not a one.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I haven't tried, but I always look because I want to, you know, text my group like, hey guys, there's some Hidden Fates here. So every time I'm in a Walmart or wherever.
Yeah. No, every time we walk into Walmart or something, I tell the kids, go check. You know, they'll run over and check. Nope, not there, Dad. All right. They don't even expect it. They'd be there anymore. Now, my son today, actually, we walked into, not today, yesterday, we walked into a Walmart, and I said, hey, go check it real quick. He runs over, he comes back, oh, they got Shining Legends. I started laughing like a hyena in Walmart just because that was so funny. But, yeah, so if you're still looking for Hidden Fates, keep looking. If you're one of these jerks that are buying them all up, screw you.
Yeah. That,
What, you got nothing to say? Huh?
well, I haven't bought any, so.
Yeah, there's one guy in our competitive group that picks them up and sold them to me. Sold me one box, and I found one box, so I've actually opened two.
I think it's not. No, I know Nintendo does this. I know, so the Pokemon company might not be far behind, but you don't create a demand for your product by not having enough supply. That doesn't make your, like, that's literally like fake. It's very, it's not good for your company, and you don't get more money out of it. All you're doing is making people, like, the secondary market gets a boost because of that.
Yeah, and it's not as if they're making money off it. They
don't retail for higher. The stores don't pay more money to get them.
You're right, but, and it doesn't make the game more popular because all it does is get me frustrated.
Right.
So
yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Me too. So, like I said, if you did pre-order your stuff, make sure you're checking your email. You may very well have lost that. So, anyway, I think that, well, no, you have one more thing that you look like you on the format like you were going to go over. But if you want to hold off on that until you get some more, or just skip it entirely, I understand.
So I did bring up last week when we didn't have a lot of time, or we didn't have a lot of like bulk to discuss. I was like, hey, you guys should start sending in questions about the Pokemon universe. You know, something I can research and then go over the lore of it. And so the first question we got was, you know, some questions about Mr. Mime. And
okay. And then...
so I did some research on Mr. Mime, and we also had another. I received another question throughout the week about the old, like during the Ruby and Sapphire anime time. So I did some research about that too.
Okay, so I know the Mime question that came. Shout out to Sadar01 from our Twitch channel. Came up with that question. So why don't you go on? Tell us.
Want to get into this? I don't know how we are on time.
We're actually over. So if you just want to hammer the Mr. Mime stuff out real quick, the best you can.
Okay, so I know this probably isn't like exactly what you were looking for, Sadar, but so I was planning on doing this whole breakdown on Mr. Mime, like why is he a psychic, why is he a fairy type. Basically, it's just because he's like it reminded me of reading the Pokédex. Reminded me of like a fey trickster. He can make you see an image, and as soon as you believe that it's real, then it is real. It actually, poofs into existence, which is something I didn't know just by playing the games. His biggest thing was like making invisible walls in the games and like show and stuff. But they're saying he can like make you see like a zombie Pokemon, and then if you believe the zombie Pokemon is real when you're looking at it, then the zombie Pokemon's actually there. That's the gist of his Pokédex entries.
And why is he a companion?
So yeah, I thought I read from an official source that Mr. Mime have married people in the past. Yeah. So I was like, whoa, okay. But I could not find that source when I was researching.
Could that just be fan speculation?
I think it was, and I might have misunderstood what I was reading and thought it was like an official Pokédex entry or something. Mr. Mime is in the spotlight because in the episode of the anime back in Kanto, Ash's mom thought a Mr. Mime was Ash dressed up, and so it lived with her. And then when she found out it wasn't Ash, it's just been a staple to the show. Generally, if you're seeing Ash's mother, you're seeing you're seeing the Mr. Mime, sweeping and stuff. And I saw some really funny theories. The whole Ash is in a coma theory, and that's why he never ages. And the anime just goes on, and it's his dream while he's in the coma.
Well, Bart Simpson doesn't age either, but go on.
There's a theory about the reason Ash doesn't age is because he's actually part Pokemon, and Mr. Mime is his dad.
Oh,
yeah, that's a real theory. Another interesting fact. I found
theory.
When they were when they were making everybody knows the Mr. Mime scene in Detective Pikachu, right?
And yes, it was very good.
The movie was written including that Mr. Mime scene from the start. And so the animators are like, okay, we got to get this Mr. Mime thing. And they went through a lot of the Pokemon they animated, like, okay, what's Charmander? Is he a salamander? Like, do we make him slimy? And they're like, no, he's actually a lizard. So they're like, okay, we'll make him scaly, right?
Works for me.
They're like, what's Mr. Mime? And they're like,
creepy.
I don't know. Maybe don't put Mr. Mime in the movie because we don't know what he is either.
Damn creepy,
like,
that's what he is.
They're like, nah, we need the memes. We're putting Mr. Mime in this movie. So they just went with it, and they basically made him a living toy.
Okay.
So I went and rewatched the scene after I read this, and so like the shoulder things, the circles, the red circles that are shoulders, those are literally the balls you pelt people in the face with in gym class.
Nice.
That's what they are. And then just, every aspect
they're
of his
dodgeballs.
Body. Yeah, they're dodgeballs. That's what they are.
Wow. Okay.
I just thought it was so funny that Pokemon Company was like, Mr. Mime. I wish we could burn it, but we can't. It was in the first game. We have to love it because it's Gen 1.
Because you gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
God.
So I thought that was real interesting. Also, the blue stuff on his head, that's not hair. That's literally growths. They're like horns.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, that was some interesting information about Mr. Mime. Sorry you had to endure that, Sadar. Oh, God. So if you if are at all interested in submitting questions to Duck so he can research this macabre, just go on Facebook and if you just search for the Mount Moon Review Podcast, you're going to find a page. Both of us are on there posting. And just submit your messages through there with any questions you would like Duck to research, because I'm sure he would be happy to. And
I really do enjoy it.
And
I like a little bit of homework.
Well, I just started a new class, so you can start on that. But that being said, I think we are wrapped up for the evening. I don't think we're doing a post show tonight, but let's wrap it up here, and we'll get ready. And I'm sure we're gonna have some news for you for episode 13. But in the meantime, do make sure you go on Facebook, give that page a like. It's just search for Mount Moon Review Podcast. And you can also look for my page, _Raspberry01. You can look for Duck on Twitter as well as Twitch, and it's Blue Duck Gold Duck without the E. We're waiting on Duck to get his butt back in gear and start streaming again for his Nuzlocke challenges.
Yeah, I know. I really want to. Like, I'm craving to play it, so it's coming.
You're emotionally scarred. We understand.
Yeah. But no, I was sitting around this weekend and I was like, ooh, I really want to hop in there, but I ended up having some stuff come up. So
well, and as
it's coming soon.
And as I noticed as I stated earlier, I've been trying to get the house ready for sale. And as you can see, like, I don't have any of this stuff normally behind me if you're watching on Twitch that you normally see. My computer was actually torn apart, and we had to move everything out to clean, paint, get stuff ready for the realtor, blah blah blah. So I got my computer put back together, and I just started streaming again last night. So I did do a pretty successful PTCGO stream. I'm going to be having some more this week, so please click that follow button and get on there and make sure you're checking those out. I'll be sure to tell everybody every chance I get as soon as Duck gets his butt back online. And other than that, I think that's all we got. So, Duck?
Yeah, Verge, I'm going to get to your question next. The question you asked. So that's the next one. Saders was first, though.
Yep, we got Verge in chat. Yeah, he does have a question. That will be next week. And we're looking forward to that. So, Duck, how about you sign us off?
All right. Until next time, everybody, remember, if it's too good to be Raz, it's probably Grease.
Oh, my God, that was horrible. Have a good night, folks.
Just because your card is magic, you think you're safe because you killed my life orb. Baby, do you dare to not flinch? Cause I'm coming at you like a dark pulse. I know you're gonna throw. You're gonna throw a storm. But I got that lucky chance. There's no critical hits.